Good connection. Hello. Guess what day it is? It's Thursday. Hey, Facebook, how are you? This is Brandy Ray Hicks. I am a nonprofit navigator and grant writer by day, but by evening, I am a college coach. And I have an organization called College Clinic, and we help students transition into college and beyond through academic preparedness, financial literacy, and basic life skills. And I want to welcome you to day 4. Day 4. Yes. Because we have been talking about the 10 things you need to complete your college application. This is a 5-day intensive celebration that we have been celebrating students all across the country that have made the decision to go on to college or career or military and start the next chapter of their lives. And I am the author of this wonderful book called The 10 Things You Need to Complete Your College Application, to provide students and teachers and administrators with 10 easy tools to help someone transition over the hump from childhood really to adulthood. So if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. You are in for a treat that we have today, because today, out of the 10 steps, we're going to talk about step number 7 and 8 from the book, which is the college essay and community service requirements. You don't want to miss this. But if you have a friend, a parent, an administrator, a counselor, a student that needs to hear this message, make sure that you push the share button to hear this amazing message that we have today. And so as we are building our audience, I have been up last night. I have been looking at all of the essay submissions. Recently, we just closed the doors at 11:59 Wednesday night for the $1,000 college scholarship. Now, I have an honest confession to make, because about 1 p.m., we only had maybe about 5 or 6 essay submissions. And I hear this a lot from grantors that say, well, we have scholarships, but we don't have enough students to apply. And so I was getting a little discouraged. And so I sent my board members a meeting request to say, hey, we've got these submissions in, take a look at them, and we'll make a decision a little quicker than we thought, but we had planned to spend all day Thursday making a decision. I want to show you what happened yesterday between the time that we dropped off our live stream yesterday, about 10:30, 24 hours later. You all have been listening. You all have been reading the emails. You have been listening to this broadcast. From 4 essay submissions yesterday, let me show you something real quick. I want you to take a look at this. Like, this was yesterday. Like, look at all of these essays that came in yesterday that my board and I are going to divvy up and read. Look how amazing these students are. Like, look at this. Like, students are really taking the extra mile. Like, it cracks me up sometimes that our students wait to the last minute, but they got it in. Let me click on here. Like, if I click on this one, you can see all of the submissions. Look at all of the submissions of the essay. Our essay contest was for you to write your graduation speech. In 500 words or less, what would be the last words that you would say to the class of 2017? And so emails were pouring in yesterday, like I was at the slot machines at Vegas. Like, all of these started coming in. So whoever the counselor was, whoever the parent was, whoever the person was, like, look at all of these that I have to read today. Like whoever that person was that told that student, like, look, there's $1,000 that you can have the opportunity to help you with your college finances. Apply for this grant. And it so warms my heart and my spirit because all of those kids have been accepted to college. Yeah! All of those kids got accepted to college. And now all of these kids are looking for ways to finance their college life. We had over 30 submissions in the last 24 hours, and I'm about $29,000 short because I want to give everybody $1,000, but there will be one lucky person that will receive. This is the hardest part of my jobs. It's not writing grants. It's not conducting workshops. It's not onboarding new talent. It is making the tough decision with me and my wonderful board members of deciding that one student. And so it's going to be a day full of reading and decision making and reaching out to the students. But I have amazing opportunity for those students that's not going to receive the $1,000 scholarship, is that I am going to put together a no-cost training for all of these students and their parents, either in virtual or in person, to help them with the conversation of what life and learning looks like between graduation day and the first freshman day of college. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited for my students. And I am in Cleveland, Ohio right now. And I'm here visiting my parents for some time because they're aging parents, and spending some time with them and just enjoying the moment, as well as there's still work to be done. And so as I work by day, I have dinner with my parents every night. And I came to Cleveland a few days ago to rest and recuperate, to start pouring more into my nonprofit, start connecting with people in the community that I know that need this message. And so I've come to Shaker to Heal. And so I came to Shaker to remind myself of where champions were born. Yes, I am wearing my Cleveland t-shirt. And yes, we did win the game yesterday. And yes, we won the game a couple of days ago. But it was a moment of reflection for me, and really spending some time with both my businesses, my Serve University and my college clinic projects, to create more content for you, to create more opportunities for you to engage, whether you're a nonprofit leader or you are somebody in need of a transition plan into college. Like, this is the perfect time for my organizations. But we are here this morning for the 10 things you need to complete your college application. So if you are new to this live stream, again, make sure that you go to our website, collegeclinic.org. I see a couple of people on. Hey, good morning, Brother Love. How you doing? Hey, Ruben, I got your message. I have not forgotten about you, and we'll chat soon. Hey, Cleveland, how's it going? And so I'm going to put the website here, which is collegeclinic.org, in the comment section. Now, for this week only, tomorrow at midnight is the last opportunity that you can get. From now until tomorrow at midnight, you can go to our website at collegeclinic.org and download this book for absolutely free. This book is sold on our website for $24.99, but I've had so many people inbox our college clinic that says that they need college resources. And so our gift to the community is that we are giving this book away for absolutely free. And so in the beginning of this book, I talk about my story where I had failed math and English my senior year in high school because I had senioritis. I talk about that it took me 13 years to get my undergrad degree. Look, I went to the University of Cincinnati. I was supposed to major in African American studies and history, but because of my senioritis, because I didn't have a plan in undergrad, I majored in everything from boys playing spades, Monopoly, kicking in. Some of y'all are on my live stream now that contributed to my delinquency in undergrad. Great times, but I did not have the plan. And so when I left the University of Cincinnati and I relocated to Atlanta, Georgia, I knew that there were two things that I was great at. I was great at speaking, and I was great at helping other people and giving back. And so the best thing that I tell young people when they relocate to another city or another community is that you got to volunteer. You need to invest into your new community because it allows you to get out the house. It also allows you to find different locations around the city so you can get around the city and you meet your next friend or you meet your next business partner, your next mentor, your next job on a volunteer assignment because you know everybody that's there is like-minded and they want to help the cause that's at hand here. And I created a career out of giving back and community service. And we're going to talk about that. That's number 8 in our topics today. But let's do a recap real quick of the 10 things you need to complete your college application. Again, for some of you all, this is new, so welcome. And for those of you all that's been rocking out with me since Monday, hey again, it's Thursday and we have one more day. Tomorrow is day 5, which means that tomorrow 2 great things happen. Number 1, we'll talk about number 9 and 10, which is financial aid and scholarship documentation. You really want to catch that one, as well as the college application submission process. And then tomorrow at 10 a.m., we are going to announce the $1,000 college scholarship in honor of National Signing Day, in honor of First Lady Michelle Obama. Last year, First Lady Michelle Obama sent us a private video that we were able to show to our students. So we are looking forward and so excited. First Lady Michelle Obama has partnered with MTV. So in New York, they're doing a very big presentation and celebration for all of the college-bound students. So today in our workbook, if you have had the time to just go to our website and download this, you can follow along with us because today we are talking about number 7. Number 7, of course, this is backwards, but you all can read. This is number 7. This is called the college essay, and this is on page 68. But let's run through the first 6 real quickly, just as a recap. Okay, so number 1 is the official high school transcript. Just to refresh your memory, the official high school transcript comes directly from the school to the college or the university. And so there's no middleman. That the counselor doesn't give it to the student for the student to send it off, because if you were a student like me, you changed your F's into B's, like that was me. So what they did is now in modern times, they electronically send your records to the school. And so that's number 1, official high school transcript, or it has someone's official signature on it. Or if you are an adult learner returning back to school, they'll put it in a sealed envelope that has Gorilla Glue that you can't even hold over steam and open it up to look at it. So you can't, it has tamper-proof envelopes. And so that is the most requested document that colleges and universities will ask for. Number 2 is the standardized test and state graduation requirements. So as you know that there are college standardized tests and entrance exams. There is the SAT, or there's the PSAT, or the practice SAT. Scores on that, whether you take it 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th grade, that scores on that will qualify your student to receive a National Merit Scholarship qualifying test. So if they're starting to get interest from colleges in 9th or 10th grade, as a parent, that gives you a good bandwidth to understand what type of scholarships are going to be available for your student based on their standardized test scores with the SAT and how they're matriculating through their high school career. The SAT and SAT subject test. So if your student is excelling in a specific subject test area, like if they're taking an AP exam or they're taking AP classes and they're whiz kids at geometry, well then there's a specialized SAT subject test that you may want to consider for your student taking this test. Look, all the tests that they take to get into college are any of the advanced placement classes that, depending on the advanced placement exam, the SAT scores or the ACT scores, will make your student exempt from taking those freshman level courses. So what that means is that if they're receiving a A or a high B in their AP classes, depending on the school, it may really match the freshman level class that they would be taking. So if they're excelling already in high school in that, then that class that they won't have to take, and then that's less money that you have to spend, and that it can be redirected in another way. So you really want to encourage your high school student that if they are making good grades and they're maintaining good grades, then now you want to start having the conversations and looking at colleges that will accept high school credit for college credit. ACT, depending on the student, is easier than the SAT. Make sure that you check your college's admissions requirements to see which test that they take. Make sure that you also check with your counselor's office to have the school's graduation requirements as well as the school district's requirements and the state's requirements for that student to graduate. Number 3 is college tuition, application fees, and deposits. College tuition is that long invoice that you get that adds up every single dime and penny that it costs for your student to sit in the classroom or stay in the dorms for their years of college education. That includes room and board, meal plans, health insurance if you decide for your health insurance to either continue to pay it on your policy, or it may be more cost effective for that student to get the health insurance policy that the college offers. Every student has to be insured with health insurance when they go away to school. So that's an economic decision within your family. Books are not included in tuition, but books can be paid through at certain schools with financial aid. So you want to have those conversations up front with colleges that you're considering, like, so can we get these books on financial aid? Some schools work a little differently. Now, if you receive free and or reduced lunch, make sure your student goes to the counselor's office and asks for a college application waiver. It is called the NACAC waiver. What that means is that a student is guaranteed at least one waiver in order to apply to that college of choice, because application fees can range anywhere from $35 on up. And so if this is your student's senior year and they're applying to 5 different colleges and it's a $50 application fee, that's $250. You've also got to pay for senior fees, homecoming, headshots, prom, whatever else, birthday. It's expensive this last 9 months of their high school education. So you want to build that into your budget, and you want to kind of find things that will offset some costs, and that's a way for students that receive free and or reduced lunch to receive that application waiver free. You do not get your application fee back if you decide not to go to that school or you get declined. It's just like car insurance. If you don't get into an accident, the insurance company is not going to give you your money back, your premium back for the month. So colleges make anywhere from $500,000, $1 million to $2 million a year in college application fees, because somebody's got to process all that paperwork, and that's what you're paying them for. Commitment and housing deposits we talked about on day 2. And what that is that it's a financial down payment that confirms your enrollment into the college. So a commitment fee confirms your freshman seat in the classroom. A housing deposit reserves your dormitory bed space. If you're late on any one of these, you may be in jeopardy of not sleeping in the dorms or not having a freshman class. And so you want to check with the college advisor's office and the financial aid office to see if the financial aid will cover the commitment and housing deposit, because depending on when your financial aid hits the college depends on whether they can roll that into it or not. So families, you always got to look at the fine print for the colleges to see how much is it going to cost me out of pocket before loans and scholarships pick it up. Number 4, high school counselor and school evaluations. There is a trifecta of people that help students get into college. It's the student, of course, it's the parent, and it's the counselor. So parents, please, if you have a high school student, no matter they're in 9th and 12th grade or 12th grade, you need to make it a habit to go physically see the counselor at least 2 times a year, in the fall and in the winter. So you can get ahead of situations, or you can put systems in place in order to help students get over educational barriers. Don't run into that counselor's office in May telling the counselor, like, why did my baby fail this class? You should have been on top of it. Like, make sure that you perceive time better than a kid does. So as a parent, you know, or kind of have a good idea what the next 2 to 3 months look like in your work schedule and in your home schedule. And so if you don't have the days, now's the time to put in overtime or make arrangements with your supervisor that says, I need to take this morning off because I need to go to the school. Please, please, please go visibly. If your schedule does not permit that, then there's technology. Set up a video conversation with your students' parents, because in some high schools, there's one graduation coach amongst 200-300 kids. And so what counselors do unapologetically is that they're focusing on the kids that are ready to graduate, and those kids that are not ready to graduate or have no interest in college, they're not seen as a priority. It's not that they're not going to get help. They're not seen as a priority because they're not taking their college career seriously. It appears that way. And the parent is not inquiring about things. And so what happens is that the rank goes down in the list of priorities. And so you really need to advocate on behalf of your child and go in and see, and also ask your children to witness these conversations that you're having so they can use their voice, because parents, you cannot call the professor when they go to college. Do not pick up the phone and call the professor, even if you're paying for it. Your student is an adult. So you have to start empowering. I see a lot of heart love. People are like, yes. So I know I have some counselors and some professors that watch this. And so you have to start encouraging your student to use their voice. Where I recommend parents to help your students do that, make your student make their own dentist appointments, hair appointments, doctor appointments. Let them get on the telephone and let them use their voice as an adult to start making decisions for themselves. Because when they get on college campus and their professor is available at technical assistance or teaching hours only, and they're in a class in a lecture hall full of 30 students or 300 students, they have to learn how to use their voice. So this starts as soon as when you don't know, you don't know. So now that you know, like, start empowering your student to make their own voice. Empower your student to make their own schedule as far as what their life and learning looks like after high school, and then you help bridge that and help empower them to find their voice. School evaluation, that is out of the control of students and parents. That's the conversation that happens between the college and the school. That is something that the counselor does have to fill out, but it's requested in the common application. That's when the college wants to see how your student's 4.0 GPA compared against another school in the district, in the state, and then across the nation. So if I was a 2.0 student, now this is real talk. I went to Shaker Heights, Ohio in Cleveland, or Shaker Heights High School in Cleveland, Ohio, which academically is a pretty great school. So my 2.0 at a Shaker Heights High School looked like a 2.7 at another public high school where their graduation rate is lower than the high school that I attended. So what happened is that my 2.0 was barely getting by, but on a rank of the other schools there's only one high school in our district, but on the rank of other high schools in the neighboring district and within the neighboring high schools in my state, my 2.0 looked like a 2.3, 2.4. So colleges want to see, and you have no control over that, colleges want to see how your high school ranks amongst high schools in the state and in the nation. Number 5, we talked about letter of recommendations. Of course, you know that this is a non-family member that speaks on behalf of the character or the humanitarianism of a student. Now, parents, this is where I told you yesterday, you can pull rank here. You can ask your good friend or your good business associate that's like an auntie or an uncle to your student, but they're not blood related, and say, hey, my child is going to call you and send a letter of recommendation for you to put write them up a letter of recommendation, but they're going to call you. Parents, do not ask for letter of recommendations on behalf of your kid. Your kid is 16 years old, 17, 18 years old. Tell them to pick up the phone. Don't text. Tell them to pick up the phone or send a formal letter of request in order to get that letter of recommendations. I believe in nepotism when it comes to letter of recommendations, because I had 3 great people that helped me with my letter of recommendation when I got into the doctoral program. And in our workbook, we have templates for you. This is, I believe in templates. Like, if you just give me like a model, like I can customize it myself. And so it gives students a template of your request letter to the person that you're asking your letter of recommendation. If they just copy this, fill it out and give it to somebody and talk to somebody about a letter of recommendation, like this speaks light years. I also have samples of your letter of recommendation in here. So this is cookie cutter. Let it customize to yourself. Student autobiography. Now, that's a unique topic about the student. Now, student biography is different than the college essay that we're talking about in just a moment, but they're one and the same. So a student autobiography is when a student writes in third person about themselves. So we have some brainstorming activities in this workbook to help students. And what I find out in my workshops, and this is one of the most challenging, this is chapter 6. And we talked about this yesterday. But this is a really challenging aspect for some students that have not figured out their identity yet. Like, they haven't figured out, like, I know I'm a student, but what am I supposed to do? I think I want to be a doctor, but I like music. You know, so it's hard for some children to think about the best in them, because you've got to write something about yourself. And so we give them brainstorming activities. And so students of parents, you probably want to tell your student to make an appointment with their English teacher, because their English teacher is also a great advocate during this college application process, because they're somebody that's going to read and edit and critique that student's college essay or their autobiography. That they'll help them with the technical part. But your student needs to work on their writing, because even though they don't like to write, like, that's all college is about, is like writing. And so when they start writing things comfortable about themselves, that's a great place to start. So they can write things uniquely about their name. Like, as a parent, have you ever told your child how and why you picked the name for them? And so when students know that their parents selected a name of nobility for them, if they, like, for me, Brandy, my name is Brandy Ray. My dad's name is Randy. Like, my middle name is Ray. And so I wrote an essay one time about my name being Ray, and that I'm a ray of sunshine and a ray of light to my community. And so you want to, if a student cannot think of one great thing about themselves, as a parent, tell your child how uniquely and divinely that their name means when you selected their birthright name for them. That should inspire them. So these are some things that you could help support as a parent. Now let me check the stream real quick so I can acknowledge who's on there. Hey, Hakeem. Hey, Ruben. Hey, Jennifer. Sarissa, hey, how are you? How are you? Angelo. Hey, Angelo, many thanks. Thanks, Angelo, for sharing this video. Also, anybody that's joining this live stream, whether it is live or it's coming up on your feed later, make sure that you share this in regards to, somebody that's in need of this information. So today, for day 4, we're going to talk about number 7 and number 8, which is the college essay. Now, for any of you all that have been to my workshops, The college essay part is one of the most recommended workshops that I do for my students because English teachers can teach it, parents can tell, like, you got to do your essay, but some students have writer's block. Like, where do I start? Where do I begin? And so in our workshops, I teach students how to write 25 sentences in 25 minutes. And they're like, wow, I can write somebody's essay in 25 minutes, and so can they. And so what we do with a college essay, depending on, some college essays have a subject that says, oh, write about this, or they give you a topic in which you want to write on. Some of them say, well, tell us something about yourself. Well, if it's tell us something about yourself, cool, you got the student autobiography. But if it is something that it says, well, just send us an essay on a subject of your choice. So we did some brainstorming in this workbook. So if you've downloaded this from our website at collegeclinic.org, I'm on page 69. And so I asked students 4 different brainstorming questions. And 10 out of 10 times they're able to they're able to spit out these answers, and it's really, really easy. So we start with 4 basic questions. The first one is, if you weren't in school right now, what would you be doing? And you can't answer, I would be asleep. What would you be doing? The next question I asked them, what do you want to be when you grow up? The third question I asked them, where do you see yourself in 1 year? And that's, I don't ask students, well, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? I can ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because we all have aspirations of what we want to be when we grow up. I even ask adults that question, like, so what you want to be when you grow up and they're 40 years old? Yeah, you still have more life to live. Like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And so I ask students, where do you see yourself in the next year of time? Because again, I said this a couple of days ago on this live stream, is that when babies are born, as new parents, that you shake your baby's head because the skull is not always formed or not completely formed. And so that's why, you want to lay your baby on different sides so your baby doesn't have a flat head, but their brain has not fully developed. And so it takes to the age of 24 for your skull to actually come together, age 24 to 26. And so students cannot think long-term of their consequences or their actions because their brain has not developed. So they're being asked at the age of 17, 18, 19 years old, like, plan out your whole life. And they're like, what? I can't think that far. All I'm trying to think about is what I'm going to eat for dinner. And so when you pressure kids into thinking about, well, what are you going to do in the next 5 to 10 years? 8 out of 10 of them is going to tell you what they want you to hear. So when you're working with high school kids, you want to ask them, like, where do you see yourself in 1 year? And then describe your favorite summary memory. And so when I ask them these 4 questions, then we break down those 4 questions and we circle one. Circle one of them. So let's describe your favorite summer memory. And so some kids will describe the first time that they flew on an airplane. My favorite one with kids, and like what I do is that I help coach them when we're going through this. So I say, describe your favorite memory and tell me 3 awesome things that happen on your summer memory. That's this in the book. So I ask them, what's your favorite summer memory? And I tell them, write 3 things about your favorite summer memory. Oh, and they can rattle it off. Oh, I rode an airplane for the first time. And I'll give you an example of a student. She said that her and her family took a flight to somewhere in the Carolinas. And that was her first time flying. And then when they got there, they were on the beach and all the family wanted to go on a Ferris wheel, but she was scared of heights, but she got on it again. The third thing about the favorite memory outside of spending time with her family is that she wanted to do it again. So those were the 3 things. She flew on the airplane the first time. She rode a Ferris wheel despite her fears, and she wanted to do it again. And as she was telling this story, I saw her posture change. She sat back, her shoulders were back. She had good posture. Her face lit up. She smiled as she was talking. She was thrilled and excited about what she was talking. I said, let's capture that. That is your college essay. And she said, really? I said, yes, this is your college essay. Let me help you break it down with the 3 things that you mentioned. And so I told her, now tell me about the Ferris wheel, or tell me about the airplane ride. She said that she was scared. And so what I compared that is that, are you nervous about college? And she said, yes. I said, did you think that you were going to get through your senior year? She said, I didn't know, because I was scared my junior year because I didn't know what to expect my senior year. I said, so once you started your senior year, you showed yourself that you could get over fear of the unknown, and that you've shown that you could do it the last 3 years, and that you were qualified to do it in your 4th year. Just like how you were scared to get on an airplane, just like how you were scared to get on a Ferris wheel, and when you were at the top of the Ferris wheel, you could see land for miles. And it's symbolic in regards to your college future, is that even though you may be scared to become a freshman, leaving your comfort zone, leaving your parents, leaving everything familiar, that you're going to get on that college Ferris wheel and you're going to ride it, and you're going to be able to see your life in a horizon. You're going to be able to see your destiny once you get to the top of that Ferris wheel, which is called your freshman year of college. And when you get down from that Ferris wheel, when that plane lands on the runway and you're safe back at home, you're going to want to do it again, because freshman year is going to rock, and you're going to want to do it again for sophomore, junior, and senior year, just like how you were successful and got over your fear of going into 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade. And so what we do in our workshops is that we build up students' confidence, and we meet them where they are. We show them life and joy through the things that they're already successful in. And so some tips on great writing essays is that give yourself enough time to create a well thought out essay. And so I just literally just wrote her essay by interviewing her. And so I wrote down the sentences that she said. Now, kids, your English teacher may not agree with this, but it takes 5 sentences to make a paragraph. And so if you start with the body of the paragraph, the 3 main paragraphs, and you speak of 3 different subjects, then you're able to write the meat and potatoes of your essay, the 3 paragraphs, the 3 examples, the flight, the Ferris wheel, and doing it again. And so now you just put bookends on the ends of your essay. Literally, I do this in 25 minutes. 5 sentences per paragraph. 5 sentences times 5 paragraphs is 25 sentences, 25 minutes, you've outlined your essay. Have a friend or a teacher or a mentor, someone that's unbiased, that can read your essay and give you some feedback. Choose a topic that you can write about, your good qualities and your characteristics. Each paragraph should be at least 5 sentences in length. Think about your life and how current events have helped shape you into a productive citizen. Practice, this is a good one. Practice writing skills by sitting down and writing for 20 minutes straight. I even do this as a grant writer. I set my alarm clock on my cell phone and I write for 20 minutes. At the end of the 20 minutes, I have a really good outline or a really good go at my papers, at my grant applications. I'm writing another book. So it gives you a good amount of time to get started on. Look, adult or student, you can sit there and scroll through the gram in the morning or Facebook and look up in 20 minutes, like the 20 minutes are gone. So sometimes you kind of have to silence the cell phone and tell your student, okay, so both of us are going to sit here. I'm going to put my cell phone in the other room. So are you. Both of us are going to sit here for 20 minutes. If you are the parent, get a book. Look at the college books that they send you in the mail. But you've got to lead by example and showing your student, like, they got to put down the phone for 20 minutes and work on their writing. Okay, and make sure you proofread. That's a good one. And so we also have outlines. Remember the 25 sentences and 25 minutes that I talked to you about? So I give you a template, another template on how to outline your college essay. You write your topic At the beginning, 2 to 3 sentences to introduce the topic, 1 to 2 sentences supporting the evidence that will be in paragraphs 1 through 3, and 1 to 2 sentences including the introductory paragraph. Then in topic 1, 2, and 3, a minimum of 5 supporting sentences, what you talked about in an introduction, and then 2 to 5 sentences, or up to 5 sentences to wrap it up. And so I use this for my proposals. Like for my grant application proposals, I use this. And so that brings us to number 8. Community service requirements. And again, if you're just jumping in on this live stream, make sure that you share this on your different Facebook groups. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share this. Thanks everybody for already sharing this video. I'm getting ready to share it myself onto the different pages so everybody can take advantage of this no-cost training for students, parents, administrators, people that run after-school programs. A lot of people now that I'm running into are purchasing this book in bulk for their after-school programs, or they're working with students that are college athletes. And so even though that they're a student athlete, like they're an athlete, but they're a student first. So there is a myriad of different people that are jumping on the bandwagon of College Clinic. And just to remind you, tomorrow at 10 a.m., we are going to announce the $1,000 college scholarship, which I'm immensely excited about. Like I told you, I think I'm like $29,000 short because there are 30 submissions, and like I want to award everybody $1,000, but we only have $1,000 this year and last year. All right, community service requirements. Now, this is something that all students and families should work to a point where service to others is the rent that you pay for your room here on earth. And Muhammad Ali really embodied that. It depends on who you're reading. It could be Shirley Chisholm. It could be Muhammad Ali. It could be the man at the corner store that said that. Whoever was the original person that said that, that is there's a lot of validity in it. Like, again, I have a career in community service and giving back. But community service, when you start giving back with your young kids at a young age, number one, we're living in a society where children are growing up thinking that they're more privileged than they should be. And so they're taking advantage of and not really understanding what it took to keep these lights on, what it took to keep you in the freshest Jordans that came out, how many hours that I had to work to make sure that food is put on the table, what it costs that you want that smartphone for $700 and that's the cost of my mortgage or rent. Like when you teach your children community service, that they get to go and spend their time for free working for people that can't afford the services that they're providing. So taking your children to a homeless shelter and folding clothes in the clothing closet will help students understand that $200 Nike jacket that you wanted is laying on the floor, but there's somebody laying up underneath a bridge that have folded their clothes or don't even have something to wear. And so giving back also at a younger age teaches students to take directions from another adult, and that gives them on-the-job experiences. Community service also is a requirement for a lot of high schools. Now, I tell all my students, like, you don't believe how many calls that I've received. My kid needs community service hours before they graduate. Ma'am, it's May. Sorry, our community service opportunities are over. And so my recommendation is for those students and parents, like now parents is where you get to activate your parent muscles. And I know that I'm kind of being tough on parents, but this is the realization, like you're in between this paradigm of them, you're trying to raise adults that don't come back to your house. You're trying to get them out. You're trying to raise adults, but you're also a parent and you still need to help them through different situations. And so community service gives students an opportunity to take direction from other adults. It also provides their first on-the-job experience. High schools are requiring this. Now, when students are on break, That is the perfect time for these kids to be doing their community service hours. So every time that they get off for Memorial Day, President's Day, they get a half a day off for student, teacher, whatever, Thanksgiving break, Christmas break. Like your student, if you have a rising freshman, to all of my 7th and 8th grade parents, your student, they give you 4 years to complete 75 hours. Why is your student waiting until January their senior year to complete their community service hours? Like, you have to have these conversations with your student in freshman year. They're too young to work, or they may work part-time with a job permit, so they're not working that many hours a day. Like on a Saturday, get your kid up and take them somewhere for their community service hours. Because at the age of under 16, some places under the age of 18, they have to be with an adult. I tell students, don't serve alone. Like if both of you and your homegirl or your homeboy got community service hours to do, like y'all go together. Some parent takes them on one day, the other parent takes them on another day. Every time that the kid gets out of a half a day, like they need to be reporting to a community service hour situation. You can knock out a lot of these hours in the 9th and 10th grade. That way their 11th and 12th grade year, all the time that they have out is in college-bound enrichment programs. So that's just a little recommendation for parents, because community service also is required for different scholarship and internship situations. And so a college wants to see a very well-rounded student. So they're not, like I gave you as an example, my barely 2.0, like I had killer letter of recommendations, and I had a lot of community service hours. And what that does is that shows a college that a student can do their homework. They can also play when they want to, be involved in sports, but they also find time to give back. Because as they're growing up and they're getting into career opportunities, internship is community service. Is just on the job community service, because a lot of internship programs are not paid. So they got to learn in high school under adult supervision, like how they need to be looking for community service opportunities. Now, I need to adjust my camera because it looks like my battery's getting ready to die. And so community service requirements. Now you want to help students find things of their interest. So if they are animal lovers, you want to help them find like a shelter. You want to make sure that you find community service opportunities for things that students are interested in. So if they love animals, they should maybe consider a homeless shelter for pets. If they love working with youth, there are daycares, there are church summer camps, there are different things with that they can help volunteer with that. If they love giving back or going green, they care about the environment, there are different organizations that pick up highway from the trash from the highway. They can go volunteer at a recycling company. They can go to a number of different things. They can clean the river. If you live by a body of water, there's always, they can call we call it here the Metro Parks. You can call Parks and Recreation and find out when they are doing a park cleanup or a neighborhood cleanup, and they can get community service hours for that. Homeless, that's an easy one. You know where to find a homeless shelter in order for them to do community service hours. And so you want to make sure that the student is doing some research. So we have a tablet and template of how they can do some research. They contact the organization. They find out what the volunteer requirements are. Sometimes that nonprofits ask for students and or the parent to go through a volunteer orientation. That's important. And why they selected that organization, because the community service manager, if they decide that they're going to do all 75 of their hours at that particular nonprofit, then that volunteer coordinator could write a letter of recommendation on their letterhead for your student. And so you want to make sure that you track your hours. Now, depending on what school that you're at, some schools have an electronic dashboard or online dashboard that they can type in their community service hours and the supervisor can type in their information. In other cases, it's a tracking form. 9 out of 10 times if they give it to the student at the beginning of their freshman year, by the time it's their 12th grade year, they're going to lose the paper. Some schools that I've worked with that says that you can't piecemeal, like I do 2 hours, I turn in a form, or do 5 hours, I turn in a form. Some high schools are saying when you complete all 75 of your hours, that's when you turn it in. So in our book, we have a community service tracking form that you can Xerox as many times as you want to of however many service opportunities that you have. And so then you're writing down the duties, the dates of your service, the total hours that you work that day, and then the volunteer coordinator can sign off on your paper if you've lost your school's paper. And so community service like really changed my life. I grew up where my parents were always giving back. Like my dad, my neighbors were in politics. So I remember at a young age that we were licking envelopes and stamps for political campaigns. My mom was always giving back through my youth organization where we had things on Saturdays. So her being an example of helping her children understand cultural exposure, like she was also volunteering her time. She was also the room mom, like the parent that was in charge with the other parents that were making great decisions for their kids. And then, so you want to show that to your student that you volunteer as well. So it's not just, especially if they're under the age of 16, because they can't volunteer by themselves. So you really want to show your student what service looks like as an example. And so that's 7 and 8 of the workbook of the 10 things you need to complete your college application. So let me run through the 10 things real quick again. Official high school transcript, standardized tests and graduation requirements, college tuition application fees and deposits, high school counselor and school evaluations, letters of recommendation, student autobiography, college essay, community service requirements. Tomorrow we'll go through financial aid and scholarship documentation, application submission process, and the $1,000 college scholarship that we have to the winner of all of these essays. We're picking our top essays today. So again, as a free gift to our community, make sure that you visit our website at collegeclinic.org. You can look for the website in the feed as well to get the link to it, and download your book. You have until tomorrow to midnight to download this book. So make sure that you share this video on your social media accounts for somebody that you know that needs to hear this empowering college-bound message. So thank you once again for joining us for the 10 things you need to complete your college application, and join us back here in 24 hours, well, less than 20, but 23 hours to hear who is the winner of the $1,000 college scholarship. Thank you all for joining us today, and have a great, great day.